Study Session 8. Motivation. Introduction. In this study session, we shall examine the concept, nature, and source of motivation. We shall also discuss its importance in social work. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Define the term motivation. 2. Identify at least 3 types of motivation. 3. Discuss at least 4 theories of motivation. And 4. Explain how each theory of motivation can be applied. The concept of motivation. Motivation refers to the processes that intimate, energize, and direct behavior. Coleman, 1994. It explains why people behave as they do, in contrast to how they do it. It addresses the question of why people in the same situation may behave quite differently, and why the same person may perform differently in different situations or at different times. Motivation as a determinant of behavior refers to those factors which increase or decrease the figure of an individual's activity. It is the push behind behavior which directs actions towards the achievement of certain goals. It refers to internal and external conditions that arouse, sustain, and direct behavior in response to situation and objectives in the environment. For example, need for teachers in secondary schools is a motivation for seeking admission to the College of Education. 3 central concepts that are used to an incentive. 1. Need. This is a state of deprivation or deficiency. For example, need for water, food, etc. It is defined as a state created when an organism does not have or is deprived of an object or condition it requires. Need can be defined as biological, social, or cognitive. 2. Drives. These are psychological states that arises from needs, providing a motivational push to fulfill those needs. E.g., hunger drive, which makes an hungry animal or man looks for food. Other forms of drive apart from hunger are thirst, aggression, etc. Incentive. This refers to external objects and events that exert a motivational pull on behavior. The above 3 central concepts are used to explain motivation behavior as shown in figure 8.1 below. Incentive, that is, goal, which will lead to need, then to drive, and then result in behavior. As shown above, the 3 concepts are interrelated. The need, that is a state of deprivation, leads to a drive to satisfy that need through behavior directed at a goal or incentive that will reduce the need. For instance, the need for food leads to a drive for it, that is hunger drive, which in turn leads to searching for the food, and when eventually got, reduces the need for it. Sources of motivation. According to Marx 1976, human motivation can be biologically, psychologically, and socially determined. Thus, motives such as hunger, thirst, fatigue, and sex are psychologically or biologically in origin. Organism motives like curiosity, competence, and achievement have a psychological origin, while motives that focus directly on relationships with other people, for example, affiliation, power, and independence, have social origin. Therefore, human motivation can be biological, psychological, social, or environmental in nature. Types of motivation. There are two major types of motivation, namely intrinsic, that is internal, and extrinsic, that is external motivation. 1. Intrinsic motivation, that is internal motivation. This is a biologically inherent will, drive, or tendency to perform an act. The best example of intrinsic motivation is curiosity. Children are always curious to know many things. Their curiosity leads them to turn from one activity to another in rapid succession. Curiosity must be channeled into a more powerful intellectual pursuit. Inner desires and wishes are other good examples of intrinsic motivation. We are motivated to achieve a goal, not by specific tangible object, but by personal satisfaction inherent in the activity itself. Such behavior reflects intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation, that is external motivation. This refers to the incentive, reward, or feedback that arouses action and work performance. It is a kind of motivation that comes from outside. An example of this motivation may be support or encouragement given to a worker by his boss to further his or her education, or a reward or prize given to the worker for good performance. When another person encourages you to pursue or attain a goal, you are externally motivated, and this is extrinsic motivation. Also, when we behave in a specific way because it leads to specific rewards, praise, or approval, and meeting these goals depends on a particular kind of behavior, then we are talking about extrinsic motivation. Motivations are generally biologically and socially based. These are biologically based motivation. Some behavior, such as eating, drinking, and sexual behavior, serve biologically based motives for they fulfill physiological needs. At times, they also serve social and cognitive needs. For example, eating and drinking may be motivated by social needs for affiliation. Socially based motivation. While the goal of biologically based motives may be to satisfy biological needs, our ability to use symbols and to anticipate and plan for the future can also be a powerful source of motivation. Socially based motives include the needs for affiliation, social approval, achievement, and power. They are further explained below. Need for affiliation. This is expressed in our seeking out other people, in our desire to have championship, to make friends, to cooperate, to help others, and to develop caring, loving relationships. Need for social approval. Our need for social approval is reflected in many situations in which we act to obtain the approval or avoid the disapproval of others. An individual's sociability, that is, willingness to engage others in social interactions and to seek their approval or attention, develops out of early childhood interactions. Need for achievement. This is the need to strive for success and reflect a central value in Western culture. Motivation for achievement appears to become aroused only when there is at least a moderate probability of success and attractiveness incentives are available. Atkinson, 1982. Need for power. This involves the desire to tell others what to do and to use rewards or punishment to control the behavior of others. Winter, 1991. People with high power needs usually choose careers and leadership roles in which they can direct the behavior of others. Although power motivation can promote leadership, it can also promote negative behavior. Theories of motivation. Some theories of motivation offer useful explanation on where motives of people come from or what make people look for certain things or others. Such theories, among others, include need theory, physiological and achievement motivation theories, etc. Physiological theory of motivation. The theory holds that there is a central motive state, that is CMS, which is the basis of all activities and through which behavior can be explained. Morgan and King, 1975. The theory points to the fact that when the central motive state is aroused, it remains persistent and the arouser is independent of either internal or external stimulus. Achievement theory of motivation. This was proposed by McClelland in 1955. The theory holds that certain needs are learned and socially acquired as the individual interacts with his environment. According to McClelland, motivation comes from three basic needs, namely need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. Need for achievement. This refers to the need to excel in relationship or competitive orientationalized standards. According to McClelland, achievement situations such as challenging tasks may elicit feelings of pleasure, and ultimately a person may be characterized by strong achievement motivation. Thus, a person may be a high achiever, while another person may be a slow or low achiever. McClelland gave the characteristics of high achievers as follows. A high achiever will always prefer a situation where or in which he will take a personal responsibility for finding a solution to a problem. A high achiever takes a moderate risk. He will always want concrete feedback on his actions. He will want to measure his achievements daily. He will prefer to work on his own. He will not like to be a subordinate officer. Need for power. This refers to need for control and influence over others. McClelland views power motivation as an essential ingredient for understanding and predicting managerial success. He distinguishes between personalized and socialized power. Personalized power. This is power characteristics by dominance, submission, and win-lose satisfaction that comes from conquering others. Socialized power. This involves a subtle mix of power, motivation, and inhibition, such that there is concern for group goals, for finding goals that will move men, and so on. Individuals with a strong need for power seek control and influence over others by the means of suggestion, opinion, and evaluation. They are seen by others as forceful, outspoken, hardworking, and demanding. Need for affiliation. This refers to the need for warmth of friendly relationships. The theory holds that if affiliate needs are too strong, the consequences for managerial effectiveness are negative. In other words, strong affiliation motive interferes with the subvert effective managerial performance. Need theory of motivation. Monroe and Maslow's need theory will be discussed here. Monroe's theory of motivation. Monroe postulated that human needs can be classified into two, namely viscerogenic and psychogenic needs. Viscerogenic needs. These are primary needs such as need for food, thirst, sex, and aggression. Psychogenic needs. These are secondary needs, for example, acquisition, achievement, abasement, affiliation, autonomy play, nutrances, succurrence, cognizance, and so on. The understanding is that once the primary needs, that is, viscerogenic needs, are satisfied, any of the secondary needs, that's psychogenic needs, it's obvious. Maslow's need theory. The theory was proposed by Abraham Maslow in 1970. He postulated that human needs consist of lower and higher order needs. According to him, it is after the satisfaction of the lower needs that higher needs can become fully satisfied. He opines that human needs are hierarchical in nature, that is, they are hierarchically arranged. Thus, arranged from the lower to the higher order needs in the hierarchy are physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, esteem needs, cognitive needs, aesthetic needs, and self-actualization needs. Physiological needs. These are lower order needs or survival needs, such as the need for food, water, air, rest, sleep, sex, exercise, and elimination of body waste. Safety and security needs. These are needs to feel secure and safe. They involve freedom from physical danger. Belongingness and love needs. These are needs to affiliate with others, to be accepted, and belong. Esteem needs. Needs to achieve, be competent, gain approval or recognition. Cognitive needs. Needs to know, understand, and explore. Aesthetic needs. Needs for symmetry, order, and beauty. Self-actualization needs. This is the highest need. It is the need for self-fulfillment or need for realizing one's potential. These needs are arranged hierarchically in figure 8 below. Self-actualization needs, aesthetic needs, cognitive needs, esteem needs, belongingness and love needs, safety and security needs, physiological needs. Application of theories of motivation in social work. Some principles of motivation can be used in social work to help individuals and groups of individuals overcome their psychosocial problems. Therefore, motivation theories have useful applications in social work. They can be applied in the following ways. 1. Physiological theory of motivation can be applied by the social workers, that is, health social workers and social welfare officer, to help him or her understand the major problem, central motive of his or her patient or client. That is, the social worker can use the theory to determine the specific nature of the patient or client's problem. For example, food, financial, material problems, etc. This will assist the worker to design appropriate strategy or intervention for helping his patient or client. 2. Achieving motivation theory can also be applied by the social worker, that is, health social worker, social welfare officer, community development officer, or industrial welfare officer, to encourage their clients who feel discouraged, disappointed, frustrated, to have strong determination to overcoming their health or psychosocial problems. For example, illness, financial, material, or marital problems, etc. 3. The need theory is helpful to the social worker and the other caregivers. It will help them to identify the various psychosocial needs, that is, physiological, safety, belongingness, esteem needs, etc., of each client they will work with. They can also apply the theory to determine when and how to satisfy these needs. Study session summary. In this study session, we defined motivation as a kind of drive or forces which makes every individual behave the way he or she does to reach or attain a goal. We also noted that human motivation can be intrinsic or extrinsic, biologically, socially, or environmentally based. It includes biological motives such as hunger, thirst, sex, aggression, and social motive such as need for affiliation, social approval, achievement, and power. We also examined the 3 major theories of motivation. They are physiological, achievement, and need theories of motivation. The application for each of these theories to social work practice was also briefly examined. That ends study session 8. Thanks for listening.